again to the Freedom Front Canberra. In a little tin shed right here, right now. Finished court for the day. Yeah, went to court. They're still trying to find contempt charges for me. A bit more came out today. Ultimately, they don't have an instrument available to them to pursue criminal charges against me in terms of contempt. There was new prosecutors today, and they were real people. They came up and said g'day and introduced themselves to me and told me what they were going to do, which was, not pursue criminal charges because there's just no avenue for them. Doesn't matter how complicated it is. But they're not over and done with me. I think they're going to try and pursue some sort of a civil case against me for contempt or even defamation. Yeah, that old chestnut. I was under the impression the whole time that this contempt charge was from the court case that I got the 3 not guilty charges for. Because I was remanded into custody for contempt. G'day, Red. And I thought that matter had been dealt with. But apparently the contempt charge they were trying to get me on is from something that I'd put on this channel. Reference Magistrate Theakston. So that was news to me. Okay. Ultimately, today I had Magistrate Walker. She was Chief Magistrate. We've always appreciated Chief Magistrate Walker because she seems to want to hold account to the law. She won't allow other authorities just to make shit up to persecute us or to play charge on us. So not that she looks after us as such, it's just that she seems to follow the law, legislation's mandates. She understands that we have issues with the jurisdiction of the court and it's complicated. There's a chance I may not see the prosecutors again. They were very friendly. They tried to tell me that they're unbiased, but they seem pretty keen to pursue an avenue of complaint against me. I asked who the victim is, and I never really quite got the answer till the end. I thought maybe Chief Magistrate was Magistrate Theakston was the victim, and she said no, without any uncertain doubt, the victim here is the courts. The system is the victim. Yeah. It's not exactly like you can go and say sorry to the system while you hold it to account. So yeah, they're being watched. I suppose it's a win in one way, but they're not nice knowing these things are over yet, because I don't like to make shit up. I'm not trying to bring anyone personally into disrepute. Just bring truth to the magistrate mentioned it, their jurisdiction and ultimately their power of authority, especially as the Crown's been removed and the corporation has been in play. I said I was very happy for the court to try and bring these up in court again, because I had arrested the Magistrate Theakston in that court case due to obstruction of justice. That's still there. He ultimately asked me to remove the charges from him on the last court day. Otherwise he would place me in contempt again, and that threat of remaining in custody again sort of got the better of me, so I laid it off. But then they threw these contempt charges at me, which haven't stuck in any capacity. It's a huge waste of taxpayers' money. They still feel that they don't like what I have to say, but to the courts, just own the truth of what we're saying. We're telling you what's wrong here, and we're not trying to we're not trying to be unaccountable for the law, but the law has to be held accountable too. The fictitious entity, the corporation with the ABN number, Yeah, so this is the corporations now trying to push fines or fees against me, which would show that they're enforcing slavery and servitude. There's an act for that too. I don't want to go into too much detail because as this comes up, I've got the game plan there. It's not the game plan, it's just bringing the truth to light. So yeah, once and all, it was a pretty good day in court. It was a win. It seems they're pretty keen to get charges on me in one capacity or another. Yeah, so I do probably have to watch what I say, but once again, I'm just bringing up the truth. I'd like the courts to deal with it, but don't use me as the guinea pig to run you through there, because it's a persecuting system. I know the prosecution said today they're unbiased, but once again, you look at the symbol, holding the unbalanced scales, tipped in one side's favour. So basically, I'm just asking them all to own up to it all. Yeah, so the victim is the system. How do you apologise to the system? What, money? Money fixes everything. Once again, it's a trust meeting. Yeah, there's no justice. And I said to the magistrate, you make it's as complicated as it wants, but there's still no justice here. You know, this is, well, I won the court case. To me, this is now being driven by, I don't know, one of the 7 deadly sins: power, greed, envy, that I'd beat them or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, so that's where we're fighting now. We'll continue the fight. I really appreciate everyone's support. Yeah, I'm not going to stop speaking when I'm speaking. We should have freedom of speech, and that should be upheld by the courts. Yeah, and it's funny that it was the Magistrate Walker herself was the one that placed the charges on me. Yeah, plenty to see here. She wanted to adjourn things for another 2 weeks if it didn't place any too much hardships on me, and I said to her, mate, no contract, no consent. So at the end of the day, the prosecutor again spoke to me after the court and said I may or may not hear from them again. So maybe it's a nice graceful exit for both sides from this avenue. I don't know, but yeah, ultimately here, I'm not here to break laws. Mate, if I'm falsely accusing people of anything wrongdoing, I don't want to. But once again, we've given everyone, especially the Governor-General, every avenue to chime in here, and it hasn't. So once again, through the Governor-General not showing any leadership at all, not even responding to us in the almost 500 days we've been here. You know, that quick letter from his secretary saying he's got no jurisdiction, no power of authority. That was just, yeah, mate, how much are we paying you a year? You know, if they've removed the crown, well then what the hell what's he doing there? So once again, we're trying to bring something to light here so that we can get law back. But as long as these courts keep lying to themselves and keep coming at us without looking at their own internal systems and fixing it within, well, we're not going to get there, are we? We're just going to turn on each other. So this fictitious entity, the system, the court system, the territory, the magistrates' court, as again, this entity has now divided us. I went with, when I first started in the courts and everything, I read that it's a legal maxim: a judge without jurisdiction must be disobeyed with impunity. So I went in there all guns blazing. Ultimately, these are real people behind the scenes, and they're working for these corporations, and that it's their job. So I suppose I've changed my way in a bit where I am showing them the respect of that individual. But ultimately what I'm trying to do is get to the bottom of this, because these individuals will be held accountable in the private capacity. So we've gone through all this now, court case upon court case, adjournment upon adjournment, cost to the taxpayers. So now I suppose they're going to try and go some civil lawsuit to hold me accountable and get more money out of me, or get money out of me. But I haven't pursued them in any capacity. All these wrongful arrests, I could go in and sue them and hold them accountable in their private capacity. Not guilty, not guilty, not guilty. I can go and sue them now. And for lots. Why haven't I? Because who's paying the money when I take it? You are. I don't want your money, mate. I want you guys to have your money. The sooner we hold this accountable, and the magistrates, judges, look at themselves and say, well, this is where it's going wrong, and quite obviously there's something wrong here, so we need to come back here and not pursue these people. Otherwise, they're just leading us along like guinea pigs to try and to get us there. I don't know. But, it's wasting a lot of money, a lot of undue stress. And I'm still here, mate. I'm not backing off, mate. But yeah, that's why I haven't pursued, because it's your money they're playing with. I didn't come to take the people's money. But they want money. So once again, it's a trust meeting. This is Lucifer's bank account. I won't back off from it. It's Lucifer's bank account, and they want Lucifer to have his money. Apparently I've been a bad boy, even though I've been as most overtly peaceful as possible. I should have freedom of speech. Anything that we've actually put in writing has not been addressed back to us in any capacity. They just won't own it. I'm happy for them to pursue civil cases and contempt charges against me. But once again, that'll bring everything back front and centre. And I will hold the magistrates accountable, and the prosecution and the police accountable in their private capacity if they do pursue me. That's not a threat. I suppose it is in a little way, but mate, I'm trying to backpedal out of here, mate. I don't want to play their game. I don't want to get on their court or their corp. I just want them to hear us and fucking fix it. Because then as soon as they fix it, it actually gives power back to everyone, doesn't it? It does make the police force a legitimate body for the people, paid by the people, again, not a foreign entity, a corporation. It brings it all back. It gives it, because the more we play along this, it leaves the police open, leaves everyone open for being held accountable in private capacity. And I don't have the heart to do that. But, I came to fight. I don't back off. I don't pick a fight I can't finish. So ultimately, that's where we're at. So if we want to continue down this path, well, then if they bring me back in, well, then let's bring it all back up. And I've got, beyond reasonable doubt, I can show that a magistrate obstructed justice. And without going further into the evidence and proof that I have here, and some of those sentences for those, they're jail. I don't want to send anyone to bloody jail. I just want us to start owning the truth of where we find ourselves in this country at the moment, as we've been totally sold out. The judiciary here are turned against us, and us turned against these free people. We're the free people. We're Australians. We love each other. Any given day we'd shake hands in the pub. The entity, the system, has been hurt. Apparently I've hurt its feelings or defamed it in some capacity. I don't know how bringing truth to light. Well, I'm just giving it up to you guys. Look, probably why I wasn't really going to go live at the moment, because it's it's thick, it's deceitful. Because at the moment, meanwhile, everyone's beyond reproach, aren't they? But they're still holding us accountable to approach. Defamation. Well, once again, Ben Roberts-Smith just tried to hold the media to defamation, and once again, they get away scot-free. The digger was held responsible at the end of the day. The digger went thrown under the bus and the top brass absolved. I find myself in the other matter, almost with two shoes on here. Going to use me as the media against defamation, but once again throw the digger under the bus who's just trying to bring light I'm trying to bring light to the fact that as a digger I swore an oath of allegiance to the Queen of Australia, a fictitious figurehead. Can we own this truth of the Constitution on where we've gone wrong? And own the truth of who owns us now? We were sold as a corporation, ABN. Who owns us? Real people own corporations. So show me the owner of that corporation, so I may look that person in the eye and come to terms. Yeah, so, but you know, we work in the system. The courts themselves, they're great people. They really, well, once again, they wish you good luck. And you think you're on a mic in a casino and a courthouse, you know, it's just justice. And like I said, all this stuff that they keep trying to, doesn't matter how complicated it is, they're trying to get me. Once again, that comes under that same act without giving it away. Someone needs to be paid. Someone needs to be paid for it. So, yeah. So while they waste taxpayers' money, they still want me to pay for it. Money, mate, I'll give all my money if I want it. Yeah. Take it. Because then, yeah, when they realise I've got no money, they'll want blood, don't they? The one thing that I'm not willing to give is, yeah, my freedom and my soul, mate. Take me life. Give me a public lashing. I mean, just put a bullet in your head if you have to. You take me life, but you're not taking my freedom and you're not taking my soul. All that given being said, mate, I love living. I love life. I have a zest for life. I've never once been suicidal. Yeah, and as many others would say, my car's serviced, the brakes are good. And yeah, and I don't offer any physical threat to anybody. But can we just stop lying to ourselves? Real people are getting hurt, and we're still just going to dance around the truth. ACT government, self-government, twice voted down in referendum. There it is. So I appreciate everyone's support, prayers and everything. Yet I do pray for the system, the entity, the corporation. So is it the corporation or is it the justice system? Because the justice system's already brought itself into disrepute. 28 names on a police report. They went away to morning tea and didn't come back to it. The judge of the day stated we. He didn't state I, he stated we. Who's we? What, the 28 names? Decided not to revisit that issue because the public would lose confidence in the judiciary. How the hell do we lose confidence in truth? No, there's deceit. And over 500 days of addressing the supposed commander-in-chief, who's shown no leadership skills whatsoever here, he is hidden. Yeah, it's as deep as deception as you like. But once again, they're holding me, the digger, accountable to crimes while they are beyond reproach. I did offer an apology to the courts if I've said something on these YouTubes, because they kept mentioning this channel quite a few times and the content I'm putting up. So I've gotten worried in some capacity. But you know, you just know that they go backstage, ACT, ACT. They go backstage, and instead of addressing the real issues and bringing it up and following the lines, because they see it, it's a no-go zone, so they quash it, look at it, and no, we go back here. I'm asking you to own it all. Illegitimate oaths into office, no oaths of allegiance, no oaths of affirmation, so no allegiance to us, the people with the power or any capacity. Mate, they removed the crown, so it doesn't matter what the bloody king, queen, or who, it doesn't matter anymore, they're gone. They removed it and put in the corporation. So I don't even know how they could even have a royal commission. Yeah, we're in dire straits, Australia, as they sell us out, and look to the United Nations, and its mission statements are clear, and they fully condone sex with adults with children, and I don't. It'll never be accepted in this society. And it's exactly what this fight is. So who are they protecting while they're coming at me? Top brass absolved, digger under the bus. Chew him up, spit him out. La 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 leadership. No, we dealt with it. La 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 la. No, yes, haven't dealt with it. So it's dark and deceitful, as you can imagine. So where does their allegiance lie? Once again, without trying to give away my game plan, Criminal Code Act, and it's 1934, paragraph 34, section A, B and C. Where does their allegiance lie? Is it their affirmation of oath to the Bar Association? Is there their allegiance to their secret society? Their allegiance to their secret society? Their allegiance to their secret society? Because that would overrule any other affirmation allegiance they have to us. Who or is it to the system? Is it to their workplace agreement? Is that where their allegiance lies? Because then once again, I tell you, it's a mandatory sentence, 2 years jail. And I'll hold you accountable in a private capacity. No vexation and no belligerence minted or tendered, mate. Because I care about you in the private capacity. Would I want to see any of those in jail? That Magistrate Walker, look, she seems like a loving lady. It looks like she's a family lady. What, you want her? No, I don't want her in jail. I want her help. I want her to look after me. If the system's at wrong, system, oh come on, the entity, corporation, well then fix that. You don't fix me. No contract, no consent. You don't own me. Because that's where I'm going to go and prove. You don't own me. The lifeblood flows in me. Nothing stands between me and the divine. And it's no disrespect to them. But while there's no constitution, no oaths of allegiance, no crown, no great seal, where do we lie? Enslaved, in servitude, with no protection whatsoever. Top brass absolved, beyond reproach, beyond account, especially the entity, systems and corporation, but hold you and me, the people, highly accountable. Anyway, if the courts wish to use anything against me, feel free not to. I have every right to air my views and question the courts and their jurisdiction and their powers of authority, and I found them wanting in every capacity. I asked the Magistrate Theakston what his jurisdiction is. He wouldn't answer me. I asked him, is this a trust me? He wouldn't answer me. I've asked him many questions and he wouldn't answer or wouldn't go there, or he'd just say, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, bring this up in court again. But thanks for listening, and I'm just digesting it all. Ideally, I'd like it all just to go away and go home. I think they want me to go home too. As soon as Corey and Phil are back, I just might have an avenue to go home for a little bit. I've got grandparents and family there I love very much. I've got a life there. I've got a potential business if I can ever get back to it. And I'd like the war to be over, but we don't just give up and give in. No, we're coming here. So look, if I'm the one you need to drag through courts to do this, well, here I am. We'll go there. You can have all my money, mate. You take all the bloody pay, anything that the government said that they would give me for my service. You can have it all. No worries. I put at risk my freedom. If that's what it takes. But I know we win. So yeah, even speaking now, I'm in danger. So what I'm saying here can be held against me. And even that's not fair, because we've got to carefully pick our words in a realm that's very deceitful because of full censorship of speech. When's the Governor General going to be held accountable? Like I said, they can go arrest him now. They don't even have to make shit up. There's the crimes right there, let alone his fraudulent funds in the Australian Future Leaders Foundation, the allegations of sexual abuse in the ADF that he just walks away from, and still just in the house having a great time, mate. You know, he puts his earplugs in at 10 o'clock, nothing to see here. You know, uses the police force and the public service officers against the free people, rather than just come out and start owning the truth. That's all we're asking for, is the truth. Tell us the truth. Because the longer we're here, the more silent they are, the more time we've got to study. Yeah, sorry, Magistrate. I really care for you as an individual person in the private capacity. But yeah, upholding that corporate fiction and then trying to wield it against me, threatening and bullying, really. Because it's a damn shame, because all these prosecutors try and find their way through this very difficult, because it's difficult, it's complicated. Complicated doesn't mean justice, it just means complicated, mate. But they're putting her honour online. I'll refer to her as Magistrate respectfully. She is a magistrate, she's a chief magistrate. But they're playing with her honour. So they're trying to play their games and putting her honour on the precipice, ready to fall either way. If someone's done something really wrong and committed a crime, I need to have faith that the court systems, the judiciary, is lawful. You know, someone who's almost beyond reasonable doubt, but then they lose the case. You speak to a magistrate later in the pub and you say, how did they lose that? Well, they just didn't use the right words. How the hell is that justice? It's word games, it's play. You're playing in a court. When they say the words, it means the word, but when we say the words, no, you know, it's neither here nor there, you know. Unless you're defaming us, and then we're going to hold you accountable to your word. You know? They couldn't get me on criminal charges, so now they're common law. But you know, when I asked Magistrate Thiessen about these things, he wouldn't give me anything about jurisdiction or which law I'm being subjected to, mate. I just wanted to know what the rules were, and I've got every right to present myself. Why? Because I'm a free man. I really shouldn't even be there. I'm actually paying them the respect of their, giving them the benefit of the doubt that they're respectful, honourable people, and that their experiences of life, they've earned that position to be there. I mean, there's serious questions, and then once again I asked the court for a judge and jury, which is my right. But no, they wouldn't do it. They just no. So I had every right to ask which rules we're playing by, don't I? Yeah, I get a bit dumbfounded by it. But I've got good people on site. I've already spoken to a couple of people. And it's all in the transcripts, mate. So, but yeah, what I saw today is that the law must be seen to be upheld, especially while it's being broken. Again. So people who might think that we're wasting our time at the Governor-General's, asking him to expose the 28, holding them accountable to, you know, the illegitimate writs to the election, no oaths of allegiance, acceptance of the illegitimate oaths of allegiance into office, you know, fraudulent election, not selection, on and on and on, no power of authority, no jurisdiction, no crown, no great seal, you know, even proven by Rod Cullerton in the High Court in England. He said, yes, you're right, Mr. Cullen, but you must go home and do something about it. That's why when I saw Rod Cullen stuck at the border, I got off my ass and raced to the border to do something about it. I wasn't going to leave him hanging. He has no idea who I am. Just as I got to the border, it took 2 days to get to the bloody border. It's a big country. Yeah, just as I got to the border, he was heading that way. Don't sell us out, Rod. Don't sell us out, mate. But he's played a very significant part in it, and that's he's got us there. He's got us that far. So now we're trying to get the rest of the far. But yeah, we've proven all these things and continue to prove it while we're holding the ground there. The bravery of the men and women that I'm with and have been with the whole time to consistently put themselves out there in the elements, regardless, every day, regardless of the emotion of it all, the energies, to cop the threats, the abuse, the ridicule, the arrests, the violence from the police against the free people. And we're winning in every case. And yet still we're held accountable, and no one's held those police accountable at all. And like I said, we can do that as people. And I haven't. Why? Because it's your money. They're playing, just playing with your money, while more funds get fraudulently sent out overseas for all sorts of corrupt reasons. Hold the diggers accountable to war crimes for the wars that they sent us to, and they're deceitful reasons. And I've told you all about that, and we can cover that again. Only now to then send all our money, and possibly diggers, and all our military equipment and weapons to Ukraine to support their own interests in Ukraine, not yours and mine. No, their corporate interests. And their corporate interests are wearing Nazi flags. Some of the photos shown on the mainstream media were ISIS. So what I'm telling you people is the enemy is here in this country. And I'm not calling those individuals the enemy, but they need to look who they're working for and honestly ask them who ultimately is paying their wages and who owns them, while they take our rights away with us, our God-given rights away from us. And I'll give thanks and praise to God. He's got me through this so far. There's no convictions on me, and I'm very thankful for that. You don't want to blight on your history, and I've been debatable, but I believe I've been a good man, and I've acted always, but who cares, it doesn't matter. I know me. But yeah, mate, come back to the hearts. I trust the individuals themselves more than I trust them operating under that corporate entity. And if now those corporate entities are the victim, and they just want money, yet they want our blood and our time and our freedom and our sovereignty, you know, the fictitious me, but it's my lifeblood they only want. No, no wonder the justice is bloody tipped, mate. The scales are tipped. Who's fighting for us? Who's fighting for us? If they're not, they're clearly not. Well, then we are. And we better bloody fight for us, eh? Because they're coming for us. You know, they all resign and get away with the scot-free. Mark McGowan just resigns and goes away. What about his crimes, mate? You know, they're holding me accountable to the bloody law, but there's no constitution, and anything to do with federation was dead those days. Those borders shut, mate. That was the day they stole our rights. They're gone, mate, even though it was before that. Unaccountable. Look at that nice little paycheck he gets every year for the rest of his life. I mean, I'm a digger. I think I'd get me a veteran pension, but I think that ends at 55. I don't think they're going to try and chuck me on a super that they've bloody squandered anyway. Yeah, mate. I think it's just time that we, the men and women of this great country, start standing for each other, mate. I'm with you 100%. For God and country. Beneath our radiant Southern Cross, for you and me, mate, I really care. And I think, yeah, we honour the Anzacs by finishing the fight. This is exactly everything that they were against, mate. This is Nazism, this is communism, this is slavery and servitude. And I know I'm preaching to the preachers. And yeah. And it's not fun because at any stage they can send the enforcement around. Like we used to call them the men and women in blue. You know, but that's when we thought they were our police. Now they're in the black, the New World Order black. I even implore the police consistently. Who's paying your wages and who you're working for? Ultimately, would you still accept the wage if the owner of the corporation you're working for was complicit in crimes against children? I wouldn't. Anyway, a few people trying to call me by the looks of it. So thanks for listening. We'll be back at the Freedom Front tomorrow. Pray to God for protection, for me and for all of us. Deliver us from evil. As it seems we keep to show that we're forgiving them for their trespasses, but you just don't get away with it while you're holding us highly accountable to the law. We all need to be held accountable here. And I think it's time every single one of us looks ourselves in the eyes and just say, how complicit am I? And how have my actions hurt others? How have my actions stolen someone else's freedoms? And every time we go back to policy, procedure and rules and regulations, just remember that you're talking about people with heart. The lifeblood flows in them. And even though the corporations just move funds and bits of paper about, they're actually taking our freedoms and our blood from us. We've lost all bodily autonomy. They seem to have shown that. So the evidence is there for see. I'm not making shit up. But once again, the court systems want to pigeonhole and just go direct. No, this is all encompassing. So yeah, lucky God's for us, eh? That's why I know nothing can come against us. And that's a beautiful thing. Like I said, even if people don't believe in God, well, without God, you've got no God-given rights, and that's what they're banking on. And you do have God-given rights, inalienable rights. Very soon, once you see the law gone, everyone's going to be asking for God to come back and ask for his law back. So yeah, thank you. Shall I read the feeds? I've got nothing else to do, have I? Let's read the feeds. End script, right, I'll just be your brother now. Brother-in-arms back here, so Mr. Grassrome ruled by foreign entities for sure. Mate, yeah, so whatever I've missed here, I know that you guys have picked up in the chats. We're not alone here. We're getting bigger. I don't mean to be a broken record. I might be parroting, but I'm not a bloody galah. I promise you that, mate. But, yeah, the verbatim still, yeah. there's a lot more verbatim to go. Thank you. Well, thank you. Yeah. Well, I am educated. My family brought me up, mate. I wasn't dragged up. And I make certain that, they care about me. They might not agree with what I'm doing, but, those people that love me back home, I'm not going to be here to bring them into disrepute whatsoever. Our forefathers in my family that fought in all those wars, the ones that didn't come home, and the ones that came home but just didn't come home, my great-grandfather, for instance. I'm not going to bring them into disrepute. And that's what I'll hopefully show here doing this. Who shows mercy to thousands? He forgives iniquity and transgression and sin, but will by no means forgive the iniquity of their fathers. Sons and the sons to the third. Good afternoon, Adesh. International Circle of Elders, Terra Australis. God is doing great in his realm, and he knows the truth and his own mission doesn't speak of or stand in that truth. Thanks, man. Thank you. No, mate. I've been fully supportive of him. Yeah. So, like I say, people, they love to turn on us very quickly, don't they? But just acknowledge what each person has done in these fights, what truths they have brought. We've all done a piece of a part, and it doesn't mean that it's by for any means over. No, great amount of respect. So don't think, I didn't think I put any disrespect to Rod Cullen whatsoever, no. He's had his back out the front, mate, Even when they went to swear allegiance to the King, Rod Cullen rang up the Governor-General, didn't get a message, but at least the Secretary was very kind to go through it, and she confirmed the Governor-General by title only. Now, we're at the front every day, we didn't do that, but mind you, we get stuck in our bubble. Having the fresh eyes like Rod Cullen and looking in and just putting that up, and we played his record back to the Governor-General across the lake. We're all in on this, mate. So I'm not going to shoot the messenger. I applaud him, salute. I said, we're all bringing this part to the party. If Rod Cullen had done that, we wouldn't be able to stand so right here either. He had to do that for us, and he did that for this nation. Country, what words am I allowed to use nowadays, Born free. Remember, you're born free. Free as the wind blows. Doesn't mean we're unaccountable, but if I hurt someone, you hold me to account. If I destroy property and damage, you hold me to account. But if you deceit, injustice, unconstitutional, criminal and treasonous, you call it out, mate. First form of defence is attack, so of course they're going to come for you and me. So I'm not going, poor little me, I'm just... But I need we the people, because that's where the power is. So I'm not telling you all to drop what you're doing and get your ass here now, There'll be a time, you'll know when the time is, but just keep the talk up. Thank you very much for your prayers and support. Supposed to read your feeds, keep going around in circles. I know, they arrest you. I know. They arrest you. Okay. Oh, did you serve? Sorry, did you serve? Yes. Oh, thank you for your service. What the fuck? Excuse that quick. Really? Really? Thank you for your service. They march you off and put you in your cells and... No, there's no thanks, mate. You take that thanks and bloody... Yeah, mate, I'm not in for ingenuity. Yeah. Ingenuine, non-genuine. Don't talk just for the sake of talking, mate. They whack you and then they give you a kiss. They whack you again and give you a kiss, Mate, you're my friend or you're not my friend. I'd love the men and women of the police force, the AFP and all of them, to be standing in their right, totally sovereign and within the law. Yeah, I keep waffling. Yeah, so I'm going to, I'll pace back and forth. I'll say a quick g'days and then we'll head off. Rob, g'day. Rob, you came there today? Was that yourself? So I know there are a few Robs. Rob was there today. G'day. So, yeah, big spiel, but it was just a quick update, really. But it's not so cut and dry. Sorry, Magistrate. Yeah, it's complicated back on this side too. But the sooner we all look at the white elephant is clearly in the room, we can deal with this, because then we don't have to lie to each other anymore. We can turn full focus on the enemy there, just under the veil. Just lift up the bureaucracy and there. Entity. Doesn't that say a lot? Entities don't have heart. The entities try to become a barrier between you and the divine. And very soon, after a period of time, the divinity gets hidden totally by layer and layer and layer of government. Next layer of government, so-called voice, whatever, and then all this unconstitutional law. Legislations and mandates made on a knee-jerk reaction, holding you accountable to guidelines, rules and regulations. That's not law. That's not law. So, yeah, we've paid tribute to Magistrate Walker quite a few times, and said she seems to be wanting to get to the bottom of it. So, yeah, damn shame that I might be the one to be dragged through that realm, but we fight. And I think we've got very righteous standing and solid ground if they listen. You can't then just be a magistrate and say, I'm not answering that, I'm not listening. No, I'm not listening. And that's, what Magistrate Theakson did to me. And that's why I held him accountable to obstructing justice. Do I want him in prison? Well, once again, I give him the benefit of the doubt that he's an upstanding citizen of this country and earned his respect to get there. But doesn't mean he's beyond reproach. You never get too high up not to get a kick in the arse. I get my arse kicked daily, mate. I get told all the time. I'll see your comments on that anyway, but I'll tune out, Diggs, and I'm in a safe place at the moment. The tin shed here got me to some simulators burning on my back here. So much love. I'm going to see what these phone calls are, and we'll see you at the Freedom Front Canberra tomorrow. God bless you, peace be with you, and from me, your brother here in arms, I love you very much, and we'll see you then. And we're going to get him, mate. Yeah. So, the blokes are behind the scenes now, even Corey and Phil and everyone up there, they're all there. Everyone's into it, mate. So thank you for their courage and support, because, look, I've got a smile on my face and he hasn't let me down once. Wait till we've just got all that love back in, We've seen how quick they can use the media and everything to disunite us and brainwash us. Imagine if we were pumping all that good stuff out, just how quickly we could come back together. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. All right, we'll catch you then, Diggs. See you later, mate.